When Casey first approached me about doing a baby dedication, I said, sure, whatever weekend is good for y'all. We can make it work. Babies, miracles, that fits in with everything we do. And then I was told that on Labor Day, traditionally we do a hymn sing of labor songs. Like, well, that's going to be a little weird. But I had a whole metaphor going about the labor that we do with our bodies and the labor of parenting and birthing, and I did this whole thing and I had this whole vision, but it was kind of like I was trying to fit a puzzle piece that didn't quite work into place. I was trying to make meaning where meaning didn't exactly want to be, which, as a person whose job it is to make meaning, I find myself doing a lot of the time. Because the truth is, most of us don't feel just one thing at one time, and most of our lives are not occupied with just one thing at one time. And lately, I've found myself regularly having a strange conversation that I remember from a couple years ago, which is you introduce yourself to someone or you see someone for the first time in a while and you say, hey, how are you doing? And that's not supposed to be a stumper. The answer to that question, there's like a limited range of acceptable options for like an interpersonal quick answer. I'm fine, pretty good. You know, it's kind of been a rough day, but everything's going to be fine. Like, that's fine. Anything else is like kind of excessive or a bummer. This is not supposed to be a hard question, but now when confronted with how are you doing, we all have to add the little asterisk at the bottom, right? Like, well, I'm fine except for everything. Rising fascism. Our nation's capital is currently being patrolled by armed members of our military. Trans service people have been kicked out of their service. Immigrants are being detained. You could list with me, I'm fine except for everything. And it feels terrible to be fine when there's everything. Feels even worse to be great when there's everything. And honestly, it feels even worse than that to be having a crappy day when there's everything. Because it's like, how are you? Well, I stubbed my toe and I got a parking ticket. Oh, that seems important. There is not just one thing happening to us at any time. There are our lives, and then there is the world, and it is hard to know how those two should interact. It feels selfish to focus on the smallness of our lives when there is so much going on in the world. But it feels like preemptively giving up to just focus on how terrible everything is when there are still babies being born, and people walking picket lines, and folks dying and marrying and starting new jobs and graduating. Our lives still exist. And part of the spiritual practice of this moment is learning to live with both, with all. Because if we give up and just say, well, the world is terrible, so I'm just going to focus on my small life, eventually our ability to do that will crumble. But if all we can look at is the big, scary world, then we won't have the energy, the joy, and the real spiritual strength to stand up. We got to figure out how to live with multiple things. To say, I am great and the world is troubled. And here's what I'm doing about each of those things. I'm hugging my grandchildren. I'm writing a postcard. I'm calling my congressperson and weeping with frustration because my dishwasher can't be fixed. The smallness of our lives matter. When we act like they don't, we've already given up. So, this morning, we're going to sing some labor songs. Solidarity forever. Who here is actually a member of a union, out of curiosity? Awesome. Do you know how many more hands would have been raised 30 or 50 years ago? There's a reason we keep singing the songs. There's a reason Tim keeps organizing us. There's a reason we need unions, and we need babies, and we need joy, and we need this gathered community who will make promises to each other. So this morning, we are a community of faith, welcoming a baby, a community of resistance, seeing if singing these songs will kick us into action in the coming week, and a community that is going to figure out how to be multiple things at the same time together. May it be so. Amen.